Hello, welcome to episode 3. We are 3 of the 4 raving lunatics. We're once again a week man down. We hope to get that remedied and get back to 4 people in the very near future.
Are you taking my list? Oh, I thought it was. He wrote his down.
I wrote mine. These are my talking points. We didn't get to a segment or a topic of our last episode, so we're going to discuss that first. Being that our 4th man, who was also not here last week, is not here to present his stuff and his topics from last week.
Anyway, last episode we talked about we were going to try to get to 3 toys our 3 favorite toys growing up. So we're just going to hit that first and go through those, and then we have some other fun stuff we'll get into. But of course, we'll get into our pet peeves and our retail stuff. So let's go ahead and you go first.
Are we doing all 3, or are we just going through?
No, let's do one at a time.
All
It'll
right.
be more fun.
The thing I played with the most as a kid was were wrestling figures. They were the bone snapping wrestlers that WWF, now WWE, put out. Crack their joints and it sort of sound brutal and hardcore. But $10 a figure. That's all I would ask for at Christmas, for my birthday. And it was crazy. Well, the one in particular that was my favorite was a Undertaker figure that was the old Undertaker with the tie and the hat and the gloves. And I had a dog that chewed it up and buried it in the yard.
It's all about getting a sense.
Yeah. I've never been able to find it.
Oh, awesome.
I've never been able to find another one like that. And even at that time, I kept an eye out for it. I never found it again because it glowed in the dark and everything. I mean, it was awesome. There is a new Undertaker figure that's out now. It's kind of like the Sting in the series. And it is the Ministry era Undertaker, which is my second favorite era of Undertaker wrestling. But yeah, that was what I played with the most, were those wrestling figures, and that one was my prized possession. To my dog. Annihilated it.
What kind of dog?
It was a chocolate lab named Hershey. And to tease it, I used to feed it Starburst and watch it just...
Well, that's what it gets for it.
Well, that's right. Alright, who's next?
What you got?
When I was younger, one of the more favorite things I had was I don't remember how big it was exactly. I want to say about 12, 15 inch tall-ish. It was an old Godzilla figure by Imperial from 1985. I'm sure you've maybe seen it at some point. It was the black and green, silver spikes. I always had like the red around the lips. But I had that, and I had a little 6-inch version. And one of my favorite things I ever had.
Now, Godzilla, pretty, immobile, correct? Like, did you, build little towns and you got to, crush them, or?
Reptar smash.
I don't remember exactly what I did with him.
It was clearly...
He just carried it.
Well, I took it around.
Around like a tape.
Just figure that he was about that big, so he's a big one for his time.
Put a leash on it and drug it around the house.
Arms went up and down, legs went up and down.
Mommy, when you make me a sandwich,
And
make him
all
one
those
too.
and the tail came off. It was a cool figure.
Well, that's cool.
Still have him too.
Old man.
Well, back in my day, I was a huge fan of G.I. Joes, but I wanted to get a little more specific than just G.I. Joes. So my favorite G.I. Joe, I was actually going to go with the base, but I wanted to do a figure, a play set. The most used toys was what I was thinking, and I played with the figures more than the play set. There's a little figure, the 3 3/4 inch G.I. Joe figures, Hit and Run, and he's a camo guy. And he came with the duffel bag, so I could, it had a grappling hook, and I could hang it all over the room, and yeah, use other G.I. Joes to repel and different stuff like that. So because of the accessories he came with, I thought it was pretty fun.
always hated those 3 3/4 inch figures at that size. I felt like they were too many joints, which is why I like the 5 points of articulation of like the new Star Wars figures.
No, that was a perfect figure.
Yeah, I mean, you could do anything with GI Joes, which is why they were my favorite toy growing up. Awesome.
Glad there's not tubs under there anymore.
That's right. With the 3 3/4 inch, you could do like wrestling moves. So you could do like tag team wrestling matches, and they could put people in like suplexes. They had more articulation than all the wrestling figures at that point in time. So
they still have more articulation than a lot of stuff now.
Well, and I always just use my imagination. So it's like, all right, these are going to be the 4 horsemen, and these are going to be the rockers, and that's how we used the GI Joes for more than what they were. I also had like a Predator GI Joe team. Like Duke was Arnold Schwarzenegger. He got the flat top.
That would be neat. Take them out in the grass and they're...
Rakondo has like a Vin hat like Jesse Ventura. Right. And I used Night Viper as Predator. So that's why I thought GI Joes were awesome. Plus they had tons of places. Yeah.
I was gonna say they were very versatile. That if nothing else, they were very versatile. I mean, I had some GI Joes when I was a kid too. I just was always like, why won't you pose? You keep falling over. Your joints are too weak. And whereas the 5 points of articulation is like, ta-da. The second thing I played with a lot as a kid was Batman animated series toys. I don't remember how tall they were. They were only about that tall or something. But there were a billion different ones. They had Batman in camo, Batman see-through, Batman that... And any of them I could buy.
The ones in the gold package? Or is that older? Because I'm older.
I think they were in... Like, the card was the animated series logo. Like, it had the silhouette.
I didn't even know they had toys for the animated series. I guess it makes sense. I just don't remember them. The Batman figures I remember are the ones, the DC superheroes. Is that what they were called? Like, I know there was a little penguin. I think they were in a blue packaging.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I remember the penguin had like a multicolored umbrella that shot the top of the umbrella off.
Oh, yeah.
But
Now these were they were real big chested. They had real like skinny legs. Again, 5 points of articulation. The head would move, arms this way, and legs. And they were just real big chested. They had like little chicken leg ankles. But my favorite one of that was a blue camo. It was like winter suit version of Batman. It was blue and white camo.
They had like Harley.
I don't remember if they had Harley. I never owned a Harley, but they did have the Joker and stuff like that. And if you bought some of the bigger ones and stuff, the Joker would have things that would fly. Fire out of his flower. You could squeeze his flower and it would shoot water and stuff like that.
Well, see, the DC ones I was talking about, they had a Joker that you could put a little squirt tube in, and you could squirt water out of its flower. You remember it?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Okay. See, that makes me think of the dinosaurs, the Gotta Love Me dinosaur toys with the baby that you'd squeeze the little thing and they would do this. Like, I don't know. Anyway, who's next? Whatever.
What you got next?
Along the same lines as that Godzilla figure, I always like dinosaur stuff. So the old 80s-ish, maybe 90s, I don't remember, those old plastic dinosaurs they had where everybody remembers that T-Rex. It was always yellow with a green back. They had red lips I don't know why everything had red lips. But there was
700 cheap dinosaurs for $3.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, there was multiple of those I had, and I always played with them because I always liked dinosaurs. That was my dream job when I was a wee lad.
To play with dinosaurs?
To be a paleontologist.
Okay. I was like, just to play with dinosaurs, how's it feel now that you have that dream job? Sucks.
Second one for me is a mask toy, which is an old line in the 80s. Had real tiny little figures. They had little helmets. Do you remember? You've never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But each thing transformed into something else. They had a playset called Boulder Hill, and like one of the race car, the main character, his name, what was his, Stryker, I think. He had blonde hair, wore a gray suit, and he drove a red car, and the doors opened up for wings, and like the car flew. So like each one of them, done two different things. So I don't think the truck actually transformed into a different vehicle, but
I thought
it had a little
stuff extended out.
Yeah,
like
the
weapons.
trailer hitch part where you would hitch a trailer onto it, like the four wheels on the back would come off, and it was another little vehicle that a guy could drive around. It came with two guys, I think, and it had like a little cannon and like a ramp that would fold out, and you could shoot rockets out of the top of it, and the front extended so you could ram into other stuff, but. It done lots of different stuff, and all the vehicles were like that. I know there was like a Formula One race car that opened up and had wings, like the wheels opened out and they were wings.
And it was for what?
Mask. It was the.
It was called Mask.
There's a cartoon and everything.
Little tiny figures had about your.
So when I think of Mask, I think of the Rocky Dennis movie.
Yeah.
Or Jim Carrey, The Mask.
No.
As you were discussing it, I was like, this doesn't go with either of those.
G.I. Joes, except the figures were about like yay big.
Yeah, they were probably 2.5 inch, maybe 3
Did it stand for something like MAS?
Yeah, it was an acronym,
okay.
but I just don't remember what for.
All right.
But like
there was a TV show too.
Yeah, the cartoon. The bad guy was some guy with a mustache, and he had like some type of jet. It was a purple jet, but it was pretty big. It's probably like 86. I have no idea.
Before my time.
Yeah. And that's why everybody keeps coming in and asking like about some Johnny Mask or some new mask thing, and I keep thinking it's that.
You're like, it's coming back! Yeah!
Anyway, got a lot of playtime out of that.
The last one was Power Ranger toys. And if anyone knows me now, I'm still a fan of Power Ranger toys. Not from a playing perspective anymore, more of a collectible thing.
I bet he plays with him.
I assume he lays on the ground with his legs up in the air.
Kicking them. Have to fight my cats off to like keep them away. But the Flip Head Rangers, they came out, I don't know, 94, 95 or so. A couple years after the show debuted, and then they came out with a line of them for the movie that were metallic colored. I had them all. Of course, the Green Ranger's my favorite, the White Ranger, whatever, because he was the best. If you like the Red Ranger, you were a loser. But yeah.
I don't know. See, I missed the whole Power Rangers thing.
It's okay.
I do think some of the swords and stuff we get are kind of cool now, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I want more legacy stuff.
What you got?
Well, when I was growing up, I played with all my older brother's stuff. So I had the Transformers, which I destroyed because he had the original Optimus Prime. Hindsight, I feel bad about it. All his mask stuff go on He-Man and G.I. Joe. Because I was a
Godzilla ate them.
I was a destructive kid. In middle child, so it wasn't until later on I finally got my own stuff. And one of the ones I really liked was the Dino Rider series. They had the two I remember really was the T-Rex, which was mobile. You put batteries in it and he would walk. And there was a big, even though it doesn't technically exist anymore, since they found the right bones, they had a big brontosaurus that was about, with its tail, that yay big. And all the armor and everything went on. It was awesome.
The Brontosaurus doesn't exist?
Yeah, I thought they got rid of that.
I mean,
I thought the dinosaur doesn't exist anymore. They
Yeah, they mix bones up. And It was
But back then,
Apatosaurus and I think Brachiosaurus.
back then it
Right,
was
Brachiosaurus
the
is
set.
pretty close though.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just amused me. Like the toy doesn't exist, or
No, I think they mixed up bones of an Apatosaurus and a Diplodocus. But this set was called a Brontosaurus.
you said destructive. Like, were you useful destructive, or
No,
I was destructive as a kid as well.
Do you remember the little lead miniatures they used to have a long time ago? You could buy at hobby shops, paint all that.
lead? Oh yeah, pewter, right?
Yeah, I cut those into pieces. Ripped arms off of stuff. The G.I. Joes, where they were hooked together with the rubber band pretty much in the torso, I'd break that sometimes.
But on accident, on purpose, like. Cause, I mean, I was destructive, but like.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Well, I would like. I'd give my G.I. Joes war wounds because, you know.
Boom!
It's war.
Well,
he lost an arm.
When I got older, I did that when they had that original Mortal Kombat series that were kind of like the G.I. Joe figures.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Scorpion that I spray painted the side of his face white so it looked like he got attacked by the Sub-Zero my brother had. And it wasn't until a little while later I realized I just ruined that figure because that's not coming off anymore.
So you're creative because I used to just melt figures.
Well, that's what I would do. I mean, it's like, oh, he got scarred with like napalm or a
I'd melt
flamethrower.
figures, or I would just tear like the GI Joes, the little rubber banded figures, in half.
But that was my question. Was there a purpose, or were you guys just
No.
senselessly violent
Yes.
and want to break stuff?
Yes. There used to be.
I was an ADD kid.
They weren't remote control cars, but they were like self-powered cars. But they had the claws in the wheels.
Yeah, I had one.
And you would turn them. I went through probably 12 of those because I'm done playing with it. Baseball bat, just destroy it.
Why did your all's parents get you any more stuff?
They stopped at a very early age.
Yeah. So at a point I stopped because what I had was what I'd get, and I wouldn't get anything new till like birthday or Christmas.
What were those called? And why did they
Something
not come out?
calls. They did. Well, it was probably before you guys started, but they come out with some. We just had them for like one Christmas, but I remember mine was like purple. And yeah, it had the little thing in the hubcaps that you could twist
it, and the claws would come out, and they would climb things.
Yeah.
The only animal-esque car I even remember was a Tac Pack when I was younger.
I thought they were something claws. I don't. I'll have to look it up now.
Yeah.
But like with my Matchbox car, though, I'd smash them with a hammer, set up little wreck scenes. Like I was creative with my destruction. There was a plan. It wasn't just like I want to destroy my stuff so I can never have it again.
Yeah.
Like.
No, ours was more like he's going to murder somebody someday. Like just cutting something in half.
Serial killer tendencies.
Yep.
I know those.
My third one is Jetfire, the Transformer, and I had a lot of Transformers.
The original one.
Yeah, but that's the one that I remember playing with the most, and I still think it's pretty cool. I'd really like to get the new one that's come out.
Why didn't you get it when we got it?
Came out, I don't know. Because it's expensive.
$50 is kind of expensive for a Transformer.
It is. It is.
But I remember I had Blitzwing, maybe it was a triple changer.
Yeah.
It was tan. I had that one. I remember it a lot. Rodimus, I remember playing with a whole lot. I remember the Constructicons, but I don't remember actually having a Devastator a whole lot. I remember having all the pieces.
I can't build this. It's hard.
And then there was one that Skylynx, is that his name?
Yeah.
The space shuttle thing.
That was some sort of big
The walk,
bird animal. I don't know
Yeah.
what he technically was.
I think the bottom was a base that walked, and
Yeah.
then it was a space shuttle that turned into pterodactyl or something. But those are the ones I remember. Like I didn't have Optimus.
I never got into Transformers until I was working where I'm working.
Yeah, that's because you were the different generation. It's a little before you.
I guess.
I always liked it, but it took working at the store to really spark it. It's like, I want to start buying stuff every once in a while.
Yeah.
All right. That knocks out our toy topic.
It does.
It was pretty fun. Nice to relive some crazy memories.
Psychotic memory. Do you want to do survival tips for the zombie apocalypse?
No, let's go through pet peeves, and then maybe we can do retails at the end, and that way we won't cram all this hatred in one segment, and we can do the zombie survival tips in between.
My retail and
Well, how about you, Stuart?
Pet peeves. All right, my pet peeve for the week is just health insurance in general. I had to look into getting some, and it was a blast. And every time I've ever had to look into it, several months ago, I started looking into it for business. And with that, as soon as you go into a page, it looks like you're going to sign up for health insurance. But what it actually does is it's a marketplace, and it sends 50 people the information, and then everybody starts calling you, which is awesome. So
it's better than you having to call all them.
Well, I would like to utilize the internet and not actually have to talk to someone on the phone until I make a decision.
I thought you could still select it though.
You can keep going, but like before it'll take you to that page, it gives you like a list of 10 companies, and you've already put in your information, so those 10 companies have your
already
information.
got it.
And the sad part is, before you're like into the next website, there's at least one person calling. Like they call almost instantaneous. It's like, oh, that's great. I don't want to talk to you. I'm still on the site. I didn't specifically ask for you to call me, or I would talk to you right now. And then I get in, and I actually called some people yesterday, and of course you have to go through like 10 different people before you get to talk to someone. And then the whole joy of the cost of it. And then my deductible is going to be so high that there's no reason for me to even have insurance because...
That's the cost of the visit.
Well, I mean, I'm never going to reach my deductible, so I might as well just pay for my visits every time.
That sounds familiar.
And if I'm going to pay for my visit every time, then why should I pay the monthly fee? There's no point. I see no benefit of me having health insurance. So, good news is... hasn't actually kicked in yet, so I can still change my plan, and then...
Wouldn't your insurance be different next year, though? Since this year you still have your... from working, but then next year you're going to have... I guess... self-employed, so you're going to change that around?
It is going to be different. The open enrollment, because they do that, too. It's like, what do you mean open enrollment? Can I not get insurance any time of the year if I need it? Without a life event, apparently you can't. Explain that.
Insane. Just be like, I've killed everyone. I need insurance.
I don't get it. But open enrollment is from November 1st through January 26th. So apparently I can change that after the first of the year or after the first of the month. But after looking at the plan that I signed up for, I'm definitely going to have to change it. So I'm going to change it as soon as November 1st rolls around. Or when they haven't contacted me yet for payment. So I guess I'll just not answer.
Stop calling me, go away. I'll get hold of you when I'm ready.
Anyway, health insurance is a blast.
Yeah.
Got anything? Pet peeves?
Nothing has annoyed me this week outside of...
life.
It's not necessarily a pet peeve, but annoying life event. The last couple of days, I've heard a couple small explosions somewhere under my house. Yeah.
That sounds a lot more serious than you're making it out.
It was in the evening. We were sitting. My mom and I were sitting, and we were just watching TV, and we heard a small boom. And it shook the house enough that like she had been making cookies and something, and it cracked the icing on one of the sets of the cookies. So it was like, all right, put the shoes on, go, something blew up in my basement, what's going on? Step outside and it's just immediately like unburnt oil I don't know, gas,
So a
something.
natural gas line blew into your house.
No. No. I'll tell you. Just hang on for the ride.
I want to know now.
But, couldn't find anything. Landlord happened to be walking around. So I was like, hey, come check. You know this house better than we do. Come check this out. This is what happened. And he walked over and he's like, I smell it. So we searched around, went to the basement. Nothing. Didn't see anything. If it happens again, we'll let you know. 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. happens again. And it was like, alright. Well, when we see him, or later in the day, we'll let him know. He can come check it out. Come to find out, there's a small gas leak in the hot water tank. We had a hot water tank. Small gas leak, and the ignition switch wasn't lighting correctly. So sometimes it would misfire, and that would allow the gas to just leak and seep. And then when it would catch, it would create a small explosion. Yeah. So I was at work yesterday, got a text message from my mother and said, water tank has been disconnected. It's not working. That was the problem. That's why because it happened again, I guess, after I left for work.
You could have died.
Right. So today, before I got here, that's what I was doing. I was helping my landlord install an electric water heater, hot water tank, because gas ones are deadly. But it was like, alright. It's good to know that it was just that far away from just...
I mean, that would be anything gas, though. Because,
Right.
Just like a heater is going to need a power a lot, too. So.
Yeah. But, like, furnace now is...
It's cheaper than electricity, though. So who cares if you
It
get
is
blown
cheaper.
up?
Yeah, that. I'm getting you guys an electric water tank. Your electric bill's going to go up a little bit. But your gas bill will go down. Okay.
Not in equal increments, though.
Right. Of course not. But that's more a life annoyance. It's just like, why does that have to happen? Like, the house is... My landlord's in his 70s. And it was his grandfather who hand-built the house and laid all the piping and everything. And it's still like that. So...
I was going to say, a 70-year-old's grandfather didn't have pipes.
I mean...
he could do it later in his life, but...
Yeah. And then, above the brick, before you get to the actual house, is wood that is the foundation of the house. Anyway. Jay?
Well, as opposed to my normal just irrational hatred of all kinds of dumb things, this and that, and hatred of people, mine's that, but also work related. And I keep seeing it on the news too, where other stores, Walmart, Target, all these are having it, and that's people that are going in and just, because it seems to be rampant at ours, where they walk in, take a bunch of stuff, leave, so they're stealing it already, and then they decide to come back later and return it.
If you're watching and you do this, shame on you.
I mean, I would feel like I got lucky enough walking out with something, and I would just try to pawn that or sell it or whatever I could do with that. I wouldn't be like, I think I'll go back and chance it again and maybe get a gift card.
Maybe they won't recognize me 45 minutes later.
Or
they just steal off the shelf and walk to the front of the store and return it.
Or that one too is just,
Listen, it all goes back to my, I miss the days where I could just lay a shotgun on the table and be like, you're taking my stuff out. You don't want to do that anymore.
Or I like the ones where it's something that's like known it was taken. So when they bring it back, we know, deny them from returning it, and then their buddies come in with the same thing. Like, we're stupid and don't see what's happening.
Jay, it's a legitimate return. You can't tell me not everyone needs to buy guitar strings, thermometers, and children's Benadryl in one transaction.
And then return
it. Or a Hello Kitty iPhone case. Or
So wait, is this like the Walmart game where you buy the 3 weirdest things to see if you can creep out the cashier?
Right.
Because they're doing it.
It's just the reverse.
No, but just
It's like, oh, you're returning those shoes.
thieves in general
I see
are
the security tags are still on those shoes.
annoying.
Yeah, I mean, thieves were one of my list of pet peeves that we were going to talk about.
Whether it be people coming in, employees of said store, or any of these, people just stealing stuff really just irks
Lop
me.
the hand off.
I mean, we could creep into it and just go with fingers at first. That gives more chances.
I don't know.
And I really... Never mind.
Family Guy said it best because nothing says obey me like a head on a stick.
And that's a nice transition into our